Morning, first grade. Today for grammar, we have two different things we want to talk about. The first topic I would like to talk with you about today is commas. Now, we've talked about commas a little bit before, but we are going to talk about commas again. Now, what we want to remember is that we use commas in dates like we do every day, right? Like today is the 18th, so we would write, November 18th, put a comma, and 2020, right? So the comma goes in between the date and the year. But it also separates single words in a series. Now, a series would be if I have a list and then I want to talk about that list. So let's look at number 1. If it says, my dog likes to run, swim, and play, I could have a list. Dog likes. The things my dog likes to do. And I could say, the dog likes to run, the dog likes to swim, the dog likes to play fetch, right? And so I have these 3 different things that my dog likes to do. But when I put that into a sentence, it's not going to look like this. Instead, it's going to be listed out in words, and then to separate each one of these, I need to put a comma. So run, swim, play, those were the pieces in my list, and I have to put a comma in between run and swim, and then between swim and the word and. I'm not going to put it after the word and because and is not one of the words in my list, but and is combining all 3 of the things together. Okay, does that make sense? I'm hoping that makes sense to you. Let's look at number 2. If I'm talking about colors of my room, I have blue, I have green, and I have brown. Okay, now that's my list, right? Now when I'm going to put that into words for my sentence, it says our room is blue, green, and brown. So I find it's easiest if I underline the pieces that would be in my list. And now I have to figure out where to put my commas. I have to put a comma in between the first and second word in my list. And then I need to put a comma after the second word before the word and. Remember that and is my combining word. I'm not putting it after and. I'm not putting it after brown. That's the end of my sentence, so it gets a period. Look at number 3. I like to eat pizza, hot dogs, and burgers. Now, this is one that trips up kids all the time. Here's why. Here's my list. Pizza, hot dogs, burgers. Notice hot dogs, that's one thing, but it's 2 words. So when we put it up in our list, it shows up as 2 words. When we go up here, all of a sudden, kids want to say, oops, we need to put a comma between hot and dogs. No, hot and dogs is all one word. So pizza, that's one thing. Hot dogs, that's another. Burgers, that's the third. So, comma goes where? In between pizza and hot dogs, and between hot dogs and our combining word of and. Number 4, I played with Tom, Sally, and Jim. So if I was making my list, I would probably say kids I played with. And then I would say Tom, Sally, Jim. Those are the kids. Okay, so I played with Tom, Sally, Jim. Now, where did my commas go? I need commas because I have a group of things that I was talking about, or a group of people. My comma goes between Tom and Sally, between Sally and the word and. There's one more here, number 5. I'd like you to put a box around it. I want you to do number 5 on your own. You do not need to make these lists like I did. Do not feel like you need to do that. But I would like you to underline the pieces that would be in your list. And then I would like you to put the commas where the commas belong. Okay? You're responsible for number 5. On the other side, action verbs. Remember that this week we're talking about action verbs. They're the main attraction words. They're verbs. So your action verbs are the things that you are doing, that people are doing, that animals are doing. Okay? So what we have to do is we have to circle the verbs in the sentences. Then we're going to go one step farther. There's going to be 2 of them on this page that I'm going to ask you to make a new sentence for with the verb. So let's look at number 1. We watch movies on Friday. What are we doing? What do? We watch. It's something that we can physically do with our eyes. So watch is my verb. Number 2, my dog barks at cars. What's the dog doing? Barks, right. Okay, now I'm going to read 3, 4, and 5, and you are going to, first of all, put boxes around them. You're going to circle the verbs. Remember that they're action, something you can do. Number 3 says, she walks to school. She walks to school. Circle the verb there. She walks to school. Number 4, Madison skips down the hall. Madison skips down the hall. It's only one word that's going to be your action. Number 5, the frog hops on the ground. What's the action there? Now, there are 2 sentences that I would like you to make new sentences for with your verbs. The first one is number 3. So go ahead and put an arrow for number 3. You're just going to put the sentence right underneath it. The second sentence is number 5. So you're going to write the new sentence underneath it. So those verbs that you circled, that's the word that you're going to use in the sentence. I'm going to show you an example with number 1. Now, watch was my verb. So I used the word watch again, and here's what it said. It says, the boys watch the football game. Okay, so watch is what the boys are doing, and what they're watching is what's coming afterwards. So the boys watch the football game. That was my new sentence for number 1. If you need to write that down so you can see exactly what to do for 3 and 5, you go ahead and do that, but you're going to make your own sentences with the verbs that you circled for 3 and 5, just like I did for number 1. When you are done with this, and you're done with the back side with that number 5, then you're going to make sure that this gets put back into your Wednesday folder. Good work today, first grade.